Ever feel like you suck at this job? Motherhood, I mean. Have too much anxiety and not enough patience? Too much yelling, not enough play? There's no manual, no village, and no guarantees. The stakes are high. We want so badly to get it right. But this is survival mode. We're just trying to make it to bedtime. So if you're full of mom guilt, your temper scares you, you feel like you're screwing everything up, and you're afraid to admit any of those things out loud, this podcast is for you. This is Failing Motherhood. I'm Danielle Bettman, and each week we'll chat with a mom ready to be real, sharing her insecurities, her fears, her failures, and her wins. We do not have it all figured out. That's not the goal. The goal is to remind you, you are the mom your kids need. They need what you have, you are good enough, and you're not alone. I hope you pop in earbuds, somehow sneak away, and get ready to hear some hope from the trenches. You belong here, friend. We're so glad you're here.
Hey, it's Danielle, your Positive Discipline Certified Parenting Coach for strong-willed kids ages 2 to 10. I help defeated parents find validation, support, and proven techniques to parent their strong-willed kids with composure, connection, confidence, and cooperation through a 4-month group coaching program based on the wholehearted framework I've developed over years of working with families one-on-one. If you've just found the podcast, go to failingmotherhood.com to view a playlist of our most listened to episodes, as well as where to start if you have a strong-willed child. I am so glad you're here. I have been chatting over the last couple weeks with several graduated clients that thanked me for the episode from 2 weeks back on making weekends easier on everyone. Apparently, I didn't realize it, but I had timed it out quite conveniently to be the episode before a 3-day weekend for many that went substantially better than weekends past for these families. So if you are looking to improve weekends at your house and missed that episode, I highly recommend going back to listen before this next weekend arrives. And of course, if you are looking to master the kind and firm approach your strong-willed child needs without crushing their spirit or walking on eggshells, go to parentingwholeheartedly.com/confident and watch the Calm and Confident free masterclass with your partner so that you can both learn the 3 types of parents of strong-willed kids and call each other out, the 4 misconceptions of what to stop doing that's not going to help in making it worse, and the 4 scripts of what to do instead, as well as lay out your path to the relationship you want with your child when they're a teen down the road. Now, in today's episode, I'm sharing a behind-the-scenes clip from a recent coaching call from inside my program. It is with a parent of a 4-year-old boy who was sharing an example from their week and their concerns around the lying. And I just shared the whole clip here for you to be able to learn right alongside them. Huge thanks and shout out to this parent for giving me permission to share it. Now, I share some background insight into lying at this age, what I tell her to stop doing in the future, and how I recommend handling the behavior going forward. So if your child ever evades telling the truth at your house and you worry about it, unsure that how you're handling it is right, then you are in the right place, and let's dive in. Here is my conversation with this parent.
Share more.
Yeah. So to make a long story short, I don't know if it's more like the lying or the fact that I'm afraid there's going to be something important one day he won't tell me, like withhold from me. But just for example, he lies about a lot of things. My son is 4 years old. But this is just the most recent example. So we also have a hard time keeping him in his room and stuff. And he's kind of grown out of naps. He doesn't nap anymore, but I still want there to be like rest time. He goes to school 8 to 3 and comes home a mess. So
Yeah.
I decided, okay, you're going to be able to watch Max and Ruby in my room after school by yourself. Because if he comes home and he's around his brother immediately, he's just like irritated. So, and I left the remote within his reach, and I come back in the room to check on him, and he's like gotten out of Paramount watching Max and Ruby, and he's watching some weird show on YouTube. I guess it was like, it wasn't a real show. It was a kid show, but it's like adults playing with kid toys. And I was like, yeah, no, I've told him before, we're not allowed to watch not things that aren't a real show, whatever. And I
Yep.
said, I'm trusting you. I'm going to turn on Max and Ruby, but don't change it again. So come back in the room. And again, he's onto something else. And I could see on the monitor, the baby monitor, that he's up and like doing it. So I tried to give him a chance to tell me. I'm like, did you get the remote and change the channel? Like, are you allowed to watch this? I didn't. And I'm like, you're not in trouble. I saw on the monitor that you got up. I just want to know. No, I didn't. So that's just one example of kind of like, I don't know why he's lying, because I've said to him before, like, you're not in trouble. You're not going to be in trouble. And I follow through. Like, I really try not to have a reaction, but did you do X, Y, and Z? And he will just, he doesn't swear by it, but if he could, he would swear that, Luby, I'm on the phone, that he did not do that. So I'm just worried in the future, if there's something like important that he needs to tell me, he's going to lie about it or not tell me, because I don't know if he's afraid, or I even tried to tell him the story of the boy who cries wolf, and kind of go over it with him. And he seemed to semi get it, but still continues to not tell the truth about a lot of silly things. So
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, because I'm afraid it'll turn into something bigger.
No, you're not alone. And you're worried about something that matters, because that is a very important skill and value, for the long run.
Right.
So there's a couple pieces to this that I think are important to understand. One is that between 4 and 5, there is a very big developmental shift around fantasy versus reality, where lying is not the same as like a 9-year-old lying versus like a 4 or 5-year-old lying, because when they're in this developmental shift, they are very much kind of reckoning through and testing, how can I create my own reality? What is fantasy? Because they're immersed in a bunch of other fantasy worlds, and their brain is like working on pulling them apart and understanding what is real versus something that's made up. And so in their head, when they lie at this age, they are almost wanting to just say, well, that's the reality I'm creating. Basically, like, it doesn't matter. What I say is what actually happened, rather than what actually happened. And they're kind of testing like that idea of, not can I get away with it, but can it just be true if I say it, essentially. So not that it's still not an important thing to implement and address and correct.
Right.
But just understanding where he's coming from helps you not worry to the same depth as you would, with a 9-year-old lying to your face, because it's just coming from a very different motive and different place.
Yeah. That does make me feel a little better, that I don't have like a pathological liar.
You don't. No. And again, lying is not, like, for the most part, we see it as being a very like integrity based action, and kids see it as a very effective defense mechanism.
Okay.
So yeah, like different opinions, different perceptions, same behavior, but on their side, it's coming from a much more innocent place of, this is actually a great way to get me out of a jam. And I'm going to use it because it makes sense to me, and it seems to work. And they don't see a bigger issue with that. And it's our job to kind of help challenge that with a widening opinion of widening their perception of that. But we also don't want to scare them into being like, someday your life is going to depend on you telling the truth. Like, again, let's meet them where they are and just kind of scaffold it up, one day, 1 year at a time. But a lot of that can just look like talking about what really happened in a way where you model and you narrate what you saw, not trying to
And I would avoid for the next year or two even asking him what happened.
Okay.
Because it's just basically lofting a softball that he's not going to be able to like stop himself from kind of failing at. So
Okay.
instead, I would focus on modeling, I saw this, I heard this. The
Okay.
problem with that is. So that would look like, hey, I checked on you on the monitor. I saw that you had gotten up. We talked about this. I can't let you, go change the channel again. So that there's not even a conversation about did you or didn't you, or giving him that platform to kind of defend himself or
Okay.
deny it, because now we have a second problem. And,
Okay.
you'd
That
rather
makes
just keep
sense.
it at the first problem so that we can focus our energy on why we're not changing the channel, as opposed to why it's a problem you didn't tell me you didn't change the channel, right?
Okay.
So it's like, we're losing the plot by
Okay.
creating more issues. And again, later on down the road, you've had this conversation, we've practiced it, we've narrated it, his brain's in a different place. You then can say, I saw you on the monitor. I know that you're not telling me the truth. That's a problem. Addressing it in
Okay.
like that higher level way down the road. But in the meantime, I would just narrate, I saw this, we talked about it, I can't let
Mhm.
you, and then you as the parent, you have to basically know when is a temptation too hard or a problem like too readily available that he does not have the impulse control
Mhm.
to solve himself. And
Right.
then you basically, you go to, how can I change the environment? And that might look like you
Mhm.
say, all right, clearly, the expectation, the rule, and you're
Right.
still changing it. I'm going to have to not let you watch in my room anymore, put a
Yeah.
password on that account,
Yeah.
put the remote up somewhere that you can't reach it.
Yeah. We've
There
already
has to be,
discussed just deleting YouTube off the TV. So
there you go. Yeah, deleting the app. Like there has to be follow-up then that solves that fundamental problem of, because you don't have the impulse control yet, how can I set you up for more success that eliminates this from being a problem,
Okay.
and not just relying on his goodwill or
Right.
your, conversation about it, because at a certain point at his age,
Mhm.
he can't help himself. And
Right.
there are things that you can do that eliminate that problem. And that's, you basically say, okay, you're showing me I need to take more steps to solve this problem.
Right.
And that's going to look like no longer having that on this TV.
Okay.
And then you're not like saying, because you did this, here's your punishment, I'm taking away YouTube. You're just saying, okay, there's a problem here. You need my help solving. The solution will be, it's no longer on this TV. Yay, win-win. Right? It's like
Okay.
a different PR campaign.
Yeah. Yeah. That all makes sense, because I have found myself asking him, like giving him the opportunity for him to tell me. And
He's
I
not
didn't think about it that way, but you're right. He's only 4. I should just say, I know you did this. And
Yep.
so
And not
thank
doing it
you.
in like a, shame on you type of
Right.
thing. You're
Right.
just
Just
saying,
matter of fact.
yep, as a parent, I have eyes on the back of my head. Here's what I know to be true.
Yes. Okay. That's simple. I didn't think of it that way, but I will definitely try and do that this week, and hopefully it'll go a little bit better. And
Yeah.
it's
You'll
my
at least
mindset. I'm glad to
feel better
know.
about it. Yes.
Yeah,
You'll feel
he's
more
not
empowered.
like some evil, lying
He's
little
not.
person.
Nope. You're good.
All right. Thank you.
Not just him.
Okay.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Failing Motherhood. Your kids are so lucky to have you. If you loved this episode, take a screenshot right now and share it in your Instagram stories and tag me. If you're loving the podcast, be sure that you've subscribed and leave a review so we can help more moms know that they are not alone if they feel like they're failing motherhood on a daily basis. And if you're ready to transform your relationship with your strong-willed child and invest in the support you need to make it happen, schedule your free consultation using the link in the show notes. I can't wait to meet you. Thanks for coming on this journey with me. I believe in you, and I'm cheering you on.